Okay, welcome back. This session is the course opening where I'm going to elaborate again on what we're going to cover, but more in detail and more specifically, and elaborate a bit more about each section and also start with the examples. So what are we going to talk about? First thing, be yourself. There are no rules. I'm not here delivering a course about do this and don't do that. I'm just suggesting and I'm sharing my experience, but I'm counting on your experience because your experience is what's going to set the difference between you and other pitchers. There are no rules. If you're more comfortable delivering a pitch, sitting on a chair, talking like this and doing whatever you want to do, whatever you feel comfortable in doing, that's okay. But remember that if you're choosing that style that I just showed now, sitting on the chair, you must compensate that with other techniques that I'm also going to show. Because when you're sitting, just for the sake of the example, when you're sitting down, you lose movement and you lose getting close to people and looking people in the eyes. And those are tools that you need to use. So throughout this course, what I want you to take is take whatever you want, how much you want, but try to focus. I'm giving you options. Focus on what seems and feels right for you, for your personal style up until now and going forward. Choose a style, choose a technique, choose a method, and try to implement it gradually. Don't try to change everything at once, because it will be hard for you and it will show. Take small portions, work on them, perfect them, and utilize them when you pitch. There's no better practice, there's no better way to becoming the perfect pitcher by doing something else rather than practicing. And you can practice everywhere. You can go to meetups, you can go to networking events, you can go to contests, you can pitch to your neighbors, to your dog, to your friends, whatever you can to perfect your pitch and find your own style. There is no right or wrong. Materials matter. Materials matter, of course they are. Although this course is not about how to create the slide deck, but you will find 1 or 2 sessions about how materials work and how visual aids work and how you relate better to your materials behind you. And I'm going to wrap everything materials versus attention span, materials versus reaching your goal, materials versus avoiding common traps like time traps, like personal conversations in the room. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to talk about how materials work, how you need to make them better, and how to deliver them better. One example about materials is less text. The more text that you have, the more questions people are going to ask you. On this, I hope you can trust me. For example, when I saw a pitch, not delivered, when I saw a pitch of someone delivering it, and it had about 4 or 5 bullet points explaining something about the APIs and the interfaces of their platform, and each bullet had about 4 or 5 sentences. At that second, immediately you can notice everyone in the room drifting away from the materials, drifting away from the pitch deck, and focusing the attention on the pitcher itself. Now that automatically gives the pitcher the full responsibility of delivering the information, because no one reads lots of text in presentation. You read lots of text in a book, in a PDF, in a one-sheet, whatever. But when you're pitching, you have usually very limited time, and the more text that you have, the more you will lose focus, and definitely your audience will lose focus. Because if some of them trying to read, then they are reading, they're not listening to you. And if they're not reading, they're listening just for you, and it's on you to explain each and every bullet behind you and the projector on the screen. So use your own words. You can present a sentence, a tagline with 3 to 4 words, and then talk about that sentence for 10, 15, 30 minutes. I've done it. It's not that hard once you prepare yourself and once you know everything there is to know about your market, you can do that. But using less text is the one tool that I'm going to focus on throughout this course. You will hear it a lot. Use your own words. Remember, we just talked about it. Connect on the lowest common denominator and tell a story. This tool gives you better connection to your audience. And once you have that connection and they are drawn to you rather than the slide behind me, or rather than, I don't know, other interferences in the room, you got them. And when you got them, you will reach your objectives. Construct stories. Every story has a beginning, a middle, and an end. The beginning is usually the problem, the middle is usually the solution, and the end is the implementation of how you are going to solve it. You know, marketing facts and product roadmap, and where do we see ourselves in 1 year. But every story must be told in your own words, and it's best if you are talking to the lowest common denominator. Setting realistic objectives and managing expectations. By managing expectations, you control your audience. You let them know at the very beginning what they are going to hear, what they are not going to hear, and the best thing, if we have enough time. If we have enough time and people actually want you to spend more time, then that's amazing thing. Because people want to know more. People are interested. You got them. You delivered your message, but now they are intrigued and they want to know more. Set realistic objectives at the very beginning, or even when you are coming to design the deck or the pitch. You can have a pitch for angel investors, you can have the pitch for VCs, you can have a pitch for a conference. The main difference between those three or more, way more, is the time that you have. You can get to your point by having a 5-minute pitch, 5 minutes pitch, and you can get to your point by having an hour pitch. The same objectives may apply. The difference is how low will you go? How deep will you get into stuff? Of course, naturally, most of us has usually between 5 to 10 minutes to pitch. So we must set and we must create the deck to reach the goal. And the goal is whatever you set it to be. Get a follow-up meeting, getting the money, getting the customer, or even just creating enough interest that people will want to hear more at the end of your session. But always start with setting the expectation and managing objectives. I know that might fall a bit out of your comfort zone, because usually it's not very common, because VCs, for example, are coming into the conference room and let's say 3 to 4 to 5 people sitting in front of you. They know what they're going to hear. They're going to hear a startup, they're going to hear a problem, a solution, and whatnot. But you can top that. You can say stuff like, I'm going to show you our approach to solving the problem. I'm going to show you where we focus, which market on, but I'm not going to talk about technicality. I'm not going to describe our APIs. I'm not going to talk about coding. I'm just going to talk about market opportunity, the market size, and where we fit in and how we solve the problem in that market. Your audience immediately knows, okay, I'm not going to hear about technicality. Even if it doesn't make sense to talk about technical issues at a pitch, still, you show them that you have an agenda, a very clear agenda and objectives, and you will get to that. And if someone wants to know more, you remember it. I'm going to talk about that later. You remember him, but not now, because you're in control of your session. So set realistic objectives for your deck. Even if you think that it's very obvious that my objective is to get more money, it's not. It's not. If you don't ask for money and you just show the frustration and someone in the audience shares your frustration, you got them. They understand that. Creating buy-ins from participants. This goes along with what I just said now. In order for people to buy, you need to sell. Now, what you are selling, you can sell a product, you can sell a service, or the best thing, and I found that working every time, is sell an experience. Use your storytelling abilities, use the everyday problems, use the lowest common denominator that everyone in the room share, and you decided that this is the problem that you want to focus on, and create buy-ins. A simple buy-in is frustration. I share your frustration with that problem. I have that too, I being the investor, of course. But there are other types of buy-ins, like market opportunities. This is a huge market. We are hoping to convert some of that huge market share to our benefit, to our solution. So creating binds, and you can think of many examples for creating binds, but binds is your leads. For example, between every slide, before I'm going to the next slide, if we're going to talk about the common structure, then problem, solution, market opportunity, product roadmap, business model, etc., etc. But between every slide, I'm creating a buy-in. And that buy-in can be a question. I'm going to talk about that, but it can be a question. So what do you think we do now if you have such a problem? Or how do you, based on your experience, the audience's experience, have you heard about other solutions for that problem that I just showed you now? Then you're going to answer, you're going to say yes, right, interesting, never heard of them, whatever, but that's a buy-in. Because you created enough interest and you're leading them towards your objective. We share the frustration. We all share it. That's good. This is one example. This is another example. And of course, as a pitcher, you must be aware of your competitors and other solutions out there. But you take all of this and you move on to the next slide, which is the solution, and you created already the buy-in because they're expecting a solution. We're also going to talk about what a good opening and introduction should include. Also, summary. But for now, because this is just the beginning of the course, I want to talk about a good opening. A good opening is, of course, presenting yourself, presenting your partners, but very shortly. But it can also be, and that's not less important, who are you? Who are you sitting in front of a computer right now watching me? Who are you? Can you tell me about yourselves? Not in real time, maybe in the comments, maybe in emails, but you have people live in front of you. Conference, VC meeting, angel, elevator, customers, whatever. You have people in front of you. You should get to know them better. Of course, VCs are in the room because they want to see if you have an interesting investment opportunity. But no, this VC has a portfolio. This VC has personal style and personal choices. Introduce yourself. Let them share the information that they want and they feel is relevant for this meeting. But when you know them and when they're introducing themselves, you can immediately spot if one of the partners or one of the people in the audience are more tech savvy and one is more about disruptive market, visions, not about the dollars. But how are you going to change people's lives? Technical person, financial person. By knowing each one of them, you can address specific types of information to them and respect their experience, respect their existing knowledge. Use it to your benefit. Use it for you to reach your objectives. Use it for you to control attention span. Use it for you to manage audience expectations and audience interaction, which is also very important. So how do we conduct stories out of any data and make it flow? Storytelling is best because storytelling allows you to share an experience and sell an experience rather than sell a product. We are entrepreneurs. We always think of ideas. We always share them as much as we possibly can. And we are all problems and solutions people. So if you're aware of that fact, remember I just said every story has a beginning, a middle, and an end. A beginning is the problem, the middle is the solution, and the ending is how you are going to actually do it. People expect that style. People expect that information to be delivered in your pitch. Even if they're not fully aware of them, it makes it easier for them to absorb information and retain information. And I'm going to talk about it in attention span, but there is a generic rule of thumb when teaching and instructing. If you have a 45-minute session, people remember the first 15 minutes, the last 15 minutes or less. Everything in the middle is a blur. By knowing that and playing to that, you can make sure that your take-home message is at the right point and at the right time in your pitch. And by constructing your story from your architecture, is from your platform and your solution and your idea, allows you to tell it easier and allows them to understand it and wanting to know more, wanting to invest, whatever. Here's an example from one of my previous startups, Kupoya. It was about mobile advertisement with location-aware services. How do we came up with that idea? Me and my partner sat down for lunch and we said, wouldn't it be, that was 2.5 years ago, wouldn't it be cool if there was a QR code right on the menu where I can scan, click one button, share it with my friends, do the social advertisement, and in return get something from the business. So it's a win-win situation. I get something, the business gets social exposure, personalized social exposure, word of mouth advertisement, and everybody wins. I could describe my solution to VCs by saying that social network is on the rise, mobile is on the rise, CTRs are lower than ever on Google AdWords or whatever, but that's not a story. These are just facts. So what I eventually did was the marketing strategy and the message of Kupoya was customers who are happy in the social network world, customers who are happy share the experience. How do you make them happy? You give them stuff. You give them promotions, you give them discounts, you give them access to content, contests, whatever you want. Depends on the business, you can be as creative as you want, but the idea is that everybody wins. The business wins because he gets the best social advertisement there is out there, personal advertisement, by people who actually enjoyed and visited his business, and the user and the customer also get something. So I've described the problem, which is everybody wants social advertisement these days, and everything is going mobile. The solution is very, very simple. One click for the user, he gets something, the business gets something, deal is done. That's what we used to call a handshake. A handshake between a business owner and a customer. What are they shaking hands on? A deal. The deal is, I give you promotion, you give me a benefit. That's it. No spam, no likes, no long-term commitments, no emails, no nothing. That's it. Come back tomorrow, you can enjoy it again because you're going to promote me again. That's a story that talks to the lowest common denominator because everybody is exposed to mobile advertisement and social advertisement, and I can relate to how they interact with these advertisements. So that's the lowest common denominator. And I started with the problem, went into my solution, which is the middle, and then at the end I was talking about our platform. We can support this amount of campaigns, we are interacting with these types of social networks, this is how we do location-aware services. That's it. 1 minute, 3 sentences. That's how much you need to convey your idea. Now, I don't remember where I read this, but I definitely read that if you can't summarize your startup solution to 1 sentence or 2 sentences, then it's not focused enough. Think of stories, think of everyday life, think of the lowest common denominator, and use it when you deliver a pitch.